Hi, I'm Sara Levin, the Artful Inker, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm participating in the Creating Kindness blog hop. Now, several of us have also created videos to go with the projects that we're sharing, and you can find links to those videos in my video description below. In the meantime, let's flip this camera around so that I can share with you the Forever Blossom Shaker card. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel before you go. For the stamping portion of today's card, we're going to be using Bloom and Grow from the Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. Let me put the stamp set aside. I have already mounted my stamp, and we're going to be inking in Memento. And since this is a linen ink pad, rather than the firm foam, I'm taking my ink to the stamp. Normally I ink this way only for red rubber stamps. Okay, I believe we've got it. I've got a piece of scrap white here, and I'm going to stamp. Okay, let's put my stamp aside, and then I have a strip of Whisper White. These strips are from cutting off that little bit when you make a card front or an inside layer. They're perfect for sentiments. I'm stamping Hello from Forever Blossoms. We're going to need a couple more of those, but you don't need to see me stamp all of those. Now, to color the flowers, I'm using Dark and Light Poppy Parade Stampin' Blends, Dark Cherry Cobbler, and the leaves are Dark and Light Old Olive. So let me color one flower for you, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I'm going to start with some of the Dark Cherry Cobbler down here in the center, and then move on to Dark Poppy Parade, and then blend that out with the Light Poppy Parade. And that'll give us some nice shading in there. Now for most of my strokes, I go all the way out, back out to the middle here, and again, Dark Cherry Cobbler, Dark Poppy Parade, and then blend that all out with the Light Poppy Parade. I think you get the idea. So let's move on to the leaves, and then I'll do the rest off camera. Okay, so the leaves, I'm going to come in here with the dark right here, and then I'm going to blend that out with the light. And then to get this tip the lightest, I'm going to come back from the tip so that I'm only stroking over that part once. So that's the blend. Let me move this off camera, and while I'm there, I'm going to use the Budding Blooms dies, this in particular, to cut this out, and we'll come back to make the next steps. Okay, so I've die cut my pieces. I've got one whole flower bough here, and then I colored a single central flower and fussy cut it, and then I have stamped and fussy cut 3 hellos. Let's push some of this aside. Now I want to add some additional detail to my flower boughs. These white berries, love them, but I'd like them to be a little more, so I'm using some Versamark refill, and I've got an old paintbrush that I use for sticky things, since this doesn't completely clean, and I'm just going to paint carefully inside each one of these berries with the Versamark. And the reason you want to paint carefully is because the Memento ink is a water-based ink and you don't want it to run. We're going to sprinkle with some of the shimmery white embossing powder. And I have that right here. Isn't that just lovely and shimmery inside the, I don't know if you can see how nice that is. So give that a sprinkle all around, and of course a tap. Let me pop this back in the jar and move it out of the way. Also off camera, I have used the largest layering square with one of the stitched rectangles to cut a basic black frame. It's got a nice little stitched edge on it. And I have used one of the dies from Jubilee Beauty, this one, to cut this piece of basic black. So let me pop off camera a moment and heat emboss this, and then I'll come back and we'll finish our shaker card. Now it's time to start putting this together. So I have a pool party base, a piece of Poppy Parade, and a piece of Peaceful Poppies designer paper. That's an awful lot of peas. So let's put some multi-purpose glue on our designer paper. The card is going to go this way. Put down our layer. And then I want to adhere these two pieces together. So a little bit of glue here and here. And I want to make sure this is going to fit on here. So I'm going to lay it here without any glue. Lay this piece down. Now let's flip this over. Whoops. And I'm going to add my piece of window sheet. I've already pulled the backing off the window sheet. And then I'm going to make sure that I've got this running the right direction, and I want to put just a bead of glue down here on the bottom. I'll flip this around and try not to get my fingers in all of the glue. Okay. Give this a little bit of a rub around. Now we need to create our dam for the sequins using adhesive foam strips. And I'm going to run those here. And then I like to cut just a snip here so that it bends rather than adding two separate strips. And this is just extra from a previous card. Let's turn this around. My backing paper is dying to come off. I need to tear another. Okay, we want to butt this right up against that other piece. And again, I'm going to cut just a notch here and make the corner with it. And then with this piece, I'm not coming all the way down, because if we come too low, the sequins will be hidden. So I want to come right across the top of that opening. And I'm trying to cut it so that it makes a really tight fit here. And then I do want, the reason I'm going to use more of the foam strip is because it is taller than your normal dimensional. So I'm going to put that in here and here, but my sequins are going to be up in this area. And then down at the bottom here, where it's not going to be hidden by my flowers on the front, I'm using black dimensionals. And I need to do a double stack of those so that they will be the same height as the foam adhesive strips. There we go. Okay, let's take all of our backing off. Okay, and then I have some Peaceful Poppies sequins, and I'm just going to take some of those and put up here. Don't get your layer of sequins too tall or they won't shake. They'll get stuck. And I'm being very generous here. And I want to put my hellos in here. Okay, and then let's turn this over, and we're going to pop this on, making sure we're centered. Give that a press nice and firmly around our frame there. And then we have this piece that's going to go right in here. And I want black dimensionals under that piece as well. So we're just going to pop some in here. This one is going to need a double because it's not going to be resting on anything. It's going to be here. Okay. And then we have this flower, which also will get a dimensional. And make sure that I've lined it up with the cuts. Okay. And then, of course, make sure my base is going the correct direction. Add some multi-purpose glue here along the back. To finish, I'm going to add a little bit of glittered organdy ribbon to the card, and the reason for doing this is because, of course, the foam adhesive strip shows through the pretty lattice here, and I like the organdy ribbon because it is just very, it's sheer, so it covers up, but not completely when we're talking about the lattice. So I've added a little bit of tear and tape to either side. And then let me trim this, and that is just the thing to hide but not hide. So there's our shaker card using Forever Blossoms, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel before you go. You can find links to the other videos from today's Creating Kindness blog hop. You can find the link to today's blog post in the video description, and of course to my Stampin' Up store where you can purchase all of the current Stampin' Up products. Thanks for stopping in. Bye. Have a great day.